All right, so I continued to intern probably for almost 2 years because what started to happen is I started to get burnt out. Like I said, I had the responsibility of my son. I am a firm believer in your children being very active. My son played a lot of sports. My son was playing sports year round. And so I started to get burnt out. And then it came a point where I was starting to miss certain events of his, and I was a single mother. And I always believed that, and I always knew that I wanted to be present for my son. I never wanted my son to look out into the audience and I wasn't there. And so for me, I had came down to a place where I was going to have to make a decision, not a decision on should I keep pursuing my path. It was because that was not an option. Let's be clear. That was not an option because I knew that if I invested in myself and if I poured in myself, then ultimately it would help him, right? The better I was, as a woman, I knew the better that I would continue to be as a mother. And so I came to a place where I was like, I'm going to have to move to New York or maybe launch something in CT. And so I remember reaching out to the COO at the time that I mentioned of the School of Style, who told us during class that she was a personal stylist. I sent the email to her, just basically trying to get some more information about what it is that a personal stylist actually does. And luckily for me, she responded to the email and she broke it down. It was very simple and it was just enough of a push that I needed to decide to stay in CT and actually launch my first image consulting firm right here in the state. And it was just no looking back from there. It was no looking back. So I started to reach out to everyone here that knew me. The funny thing about content, you guys, is that I was collecting content at that time and I did not know. I was really sharing more of my journey. I was talking a lot about where I was that day and what I was doing. If I was on the train going to Brooklyn to, going between Manhattan, picking up clothes at the showroom, then getting on a train to go to Brooklyn to go to different shoots and stuff like that. So it's crazy how all of this has turned into content, and I was just really sharing my journey. And that could also be a lot of reasons why I kind of wanted to do this sort of video, because I feel like that's just been a part of the history of my content, and how I got started and stuff like that. So I think that that's a part of why I really just felt the need to do this.